still feeling intoxicated, I asked him how long was he doing it, while my face is still pointing away from him and I'm still laying down. And he didn't say a word. I asked a couple of minutes later, or a few seconds later, how long were you doing that? And he still did not say a word. And I laid there in shock. I cannot, out of all people in the world, when it should happen to no one, how in the world is this happening to me? I never thought that I would be sexually assaulted in my entire life. So, once I felt safe, once I felt like I was not to the severity of intoxication like I was, I got up. I gently got up. I sat up on the bed. I put my clothes on. And I exited the room. Once I exited the room, I started walking around the hotel to see if there was someone walking around that was supposed to be security. I walked around, I didn't see anyone. I walked two or three floors, and I didn't see anyone. So at that point, I walked down to the lobby where you go and book the room in the reservations. In the beginning, I did not go with him. We got out of our separate vehicles. I grabbed my bag. I went to follow him to wherever he was going. He told me to stay back. So I sat on the back of my vehicle. I stayed back. He was gone for like 45 minutes to an hour. And not to mention, once we went into that area, or that once we entered that gate into that area, we stopped by an ATM, and he transferred $100 from his bank to my bank from his phone. And I thought that he was paying me back for his portion of dinner. No. I did not know that until after I went to the ATM and withdrew the $100. And then I went to his driver's side window and asked, and he was like, oh, I'm going to use this to get the room. And I was like, okay. So, going back, I went down to the lobby area, and the receptionist was there. And I told them, I asked them, is there a supervisor or a manager here? And they said no. And I told them, ma'am, I have just been sexually assaulted, and I need you to look on the books for this room number. How many guests were supposed to be in it, and I need you to contact your supervisor right now because I've just been sexually assaulted. And after I left there, I started walking down to where the security post was. And as I'm walking down, it's maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, 6. I don't. It was maybe like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I sent text messages. I sent a text message to my mom. I sent a text message to my godmom. I sent a text message to my goddad. I sent a text message to my sister. I sent a text message to my coworkers, letting them know that I had just been sexually assaulted. And my sister and my mom immediately called me. And the moment I heard their voice, I just broke down crying, because I have been so strong for my entire life. And at this point in time, I could no longer protect myself. And I just sobbed. I cried. My sister cried. My mom cried. And I explained everything to them. As I was talking with them, I went and alerted the security. And it took a few minutes for the actual patrol car to come and pick me up from that security checkpoint. And it also took a while for the investigators to come out. And at that moment, the investigation began. Immediately after I conducted my interview with them, with the investigators, they took me to the local medical center where they performed the safe kit. And it was extremely violating. And my place of employment issued a no contact order or a protective order against the person who did it. When they asked me if I needed one and if I wanted one, I said no, because that person knew what they had done to me. And if that person or anyone wanted to do anything to me, a piece of paper would not keep them away. But my supervisors still generated and enforced a protective order. And I thank them for that. What that protective order did not do was protect me from friends of the person who did it to me. So at a certain point in time, I was contacted by a close friend of the person who did it to me. They told me that they heard about something going down between the person who did it to me and myself. And they wanted to know my side of it. So I told them the truth. Everything that happened. And they were like, oh man. Wow. I cannot believe I'm hearing this. I cannot believe this. I know that person, and that's not like them. Are you sure he did it? Can you prove he did it? Have you sat on a jury during the legal process and had to convict people of crimes? No, you have not. I have, and you can't prove it. You have to think about him and his family and what this would do to him and his family and what this would do to his career. And I said, are you fucking kidding me? Who are you to tell me what happened? First, you weren't even there. And there wasn't nobody else in the room to do it. And after that conversation, I sent a text message to my victim's counsel. And I told them about what happened. They called me and I told them exactly what happened. My victim's counsel asked me, would you like me to tell the defense about it? I said no. I said no because the defense doesn't need to know anything about it until it's brought up in court. Another crime has been committed, and it should be investigated. It needs to be investigated. My victim's counsel never reported it. My victim's counsel never said a word about it. My victim's counsel never investigated it. And they never said or did anything about it. And I never heard anything about it after I told them. A week, no more than 2 weeks go by. I get a notification from my victim's counsel. Hey, the defense has submitted a pretrial agreement. I need you to look over it and review it. Let's talk. So I look over the pretrial agreement, and it's all shenanigans, inaccuracies, invalid information, wrong information, and I annotated on the copy that I printed out, this is wrong with it, this is wrong with it, this is not true. Yeah, this is not true. And when my victim's counsel and I did talk about it, I pointed those things out. And I asked him, sir,